name's Courtney, and I'm here with Amanda and Conrad today. He's a lender that we've worked with in the past. So we are just going to introduce you to him and kind of talk a little bit about the lending process. And yeah, so why did you decide to get in the lending business?
I mean, it wasn't my first plan. I went to school for marketing, and then I worked at a job that was Hertz Local Edition and did the whole branch manager thing. And then I saw some copiers, document management, and then it was during the recession, so they were like cutting everyone. And then I was looking to actually get into pharmaceutical sales.
Oh, wow. That's different.
Yeah, completely. But you know, I'm really good with numbers, and I noticed even at my other job, I always had a passion for real estate. You know, any spare time, I'd be like looking at properties and trying to research it all. So it kind of seemed like the two tied in together. Yeah. And then I just had an opportunity with a company that gave a good training program for a couple of weeks. And they gave a little base pay. It wasn't much, but at least they're giving something, because as you guys know, it's pretty much straight commission in this industry.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my main reason for giving it a try, and it worked out pretty well. Definitely found my niche and passion.
Yeah. Sounds like you love the real estate aspect too as well. So that's why you've kind of invested in some real estate investments, properties. Kind of all over the country, it sounds like.
Right.
We got Hawaii, Texas, Florida.
Yep. And then Minnesota, obviously.
And then Minnesota.
Yeah.
So.
I had an apartment in Wisconsin too, but we sold that a couple years ago.
Okay. So is there any advice you could give to someone looking to get into rentals?
Yeah, looking to get into rentals. I guess it depends what kind of rentals they're looking for. You know, if they're looking for something more of like a short-term rental, it's always good to have something that's got some kind of draw to it, some kind of niche, you know, whether that be like walkability to popular restaurants or events. Or a lot of my places are actually like either on a lake or on an ocean.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
Gotta be by the water.
Yeah, exactly. So some kind of draw. You know, any place could probably get an Airbnb, even in a neighborhood to some extent, but you're just not going to get that income.
Right.
And you want to fill it as much as possible.
Okay.
And then as far as rental property so with Airbnbs, I do things like AirDNA, it's called. You can look that up and see kind of an idea what properties are going for. AirDNA.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good source. And then obviously you just look on Airbnb and VRBO and Booking.com, and you kind of just do a circumference around the area that you're looking. And then I at least go a month out and see how full a lot of the units are that are comparable to what you're looking at.
That's a good way to dig into it.
Yeah.
Because we've even tried to find Airbnbs, and we're just like, where do you even start?
Right. Yeah. So it's a little more of a guessing game than like a long-term rental, but that's probably like the best sources that you can look at.
So you really do some background check though.
For sure. Yeah.
Find out the best areas.
Yeah, and then you look at your competition and see what they're offering. Like the place we have in Fort Myers Beach, they're all pretty full, but I noticed that a lot of them are kind of more dated. So, I went in there with getting a loan to update it also, and then it just kind of gave me a little niche now over others where our unit's nicer.
There's a specific loan too that you get for doing the remodeling aspect as well.
Yeah, there is.
Property, what was that loan again?
Well, if it's an investment property, it's like a home style renovation loan, and if it's primary residence, you can do an FHA 203K loan. And as far as the long-term rentals, just the same thing. You look at Zillow, apartments.com, so I'll look at a comparable unit on what we're trying to buy and see what they're going for.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll look for value add type stuff in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think are the greatest benefits of being in a rental property?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest ones would be tax benefits, and that's huge. So just because there's not really a better tax write-off than real estate, because you get to depreciate the property each year. And with depreciation, it's not technically a real expense. So let's say you made 10 grand on the rental properties and you depreciated 10 grand, then you made nothing. So now you made 10 grand tax-free money.
Right.
And depreciation is supposed to be just for regular maintenance type things you have. But when you're doing updates and stuff, you can still write that off also on top of the depreciation. Another benefit would be a 1031. So basically, let's say you buy a property for $400,000 today and you have a loan on it for $300,000. Just throwing numbers, and then say 3 years from now it's worth $500,000 and you owe like $250,000.
Yeah.
So you sell the property and let's say you're going to make $225,000. So normally if you made that, any income, you'd have to pay taxes on it. And even if you take that cash when you sell a rental property, you will have to pay capital gains tax, which is around 20%.
Okay.
But a way to avoid that would be a 1031, and I think I did like 8 of them last year.
Oh,
So you take that money and you just put it into another property. It has to be either equal or greater value and the same type of property.
Okay.
So then you just took that $225,000, you put it into, say, $1 million property.
Yeah.
So now you have $1 million property appreciating versus a $500,000 property, and you didn't put a penny into it.
Yeah.
And if you can just keep, with no taxes. And then you just keep multiplying that.
That's nice.
What are common things you run into when you're trying to get someone pre-approved?
I mean, every case is a little different, but if somebody's approved for, say, an FHA loan, a common thing that we see often is that they get a house and they like the house, but it's just got, say, peeling paint on the outside of the window.
Okay.
That seems to be a pretty common thing that's called out.
Okay.
So if you're an FHA approved buyer and realtor, you just want to be looking for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it seems simple, but they'll call it out. And
Because it could be lead paint.
Right.
Or a health hazard
yeah,
kind of thing.
I guess for somebody
Isn't
to
that
use it or something. I don't know.
with the FHA, you can't have any health hazards,
Right.
like no mold.
Yeah, like missing outlets on the plugins and stuff, they would call you for that. If there's a
Okay.
window that's cracked, they call you for that. Mold,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But the common one is just the peeling paint, because that kind of goes, it's minor, but it's under the radar, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's like a tip you could have for a new home buyer that, or let's say they are going to get a conventional loan, anyone that's looking to buy a home,
Yeah.
how can they prepare to get approved for their loan?
There's a few different things. As far as credit, 30% ratio.
Okay.
So example, if you have $1,000 credit card limit, you want to keep the balance at $300 or lower.
Okay.
That just kind of helps bump up and improve the credit score.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Another thing, don't try to buy a bunch of stuff before.
Especially before closing. Don't buy a new car.
Yeah, and I've had that happen before. Even if you are approved, if you've gone through the whole loan process and the lender tells you you're clear to close, that doesn't give you the green light to like start buying furniture and getting credit and all that, because we pull credit again right before closing, like a day before closing.
So then right after closing, you're good to go.
Right, then you can do
Okay.
that. Then you can do whatever you
buy
want.
a car, you can
Yeah,
buy your new
go love it.
furniture. Well, thank you so much, Conrad. I mean, honestly, we've had the best experience with him thus far, and he's always treated our clients awesome, so we would recommend him to anyone. If you need to get any advice on rental properties, investment properties, you're a new buyer, he is your go-to guy, so
Awesome.
thank you so
Conrad.
All right.
much.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate your time.